We should be ashamed of that as Americans, people who believe in democracy, that the oligarchs, if you have more money, you can buy your way. Now, but to your point.
You think Mike Bloomberg's an oligarch? Come on.
He is.
So there you have Nina Turner, who's recently been on the show. I believe correctly identifying Michael Bloomberg as exactly what the term oligarch is intended to describe. Jordan Ewell, who joins us again, what did you make of Nina Turner identifying him in that way?
I mean, Bloomberg, by every measure, fits the bill for being an oligarch. He's worth $60 billion. He's one of the biggest political donors in the country on the left. He just bought his way onto the Democratic stage by bribing the DNC, giving them almost like the max. And now all of a sudden they changed the rules to let him onto the debate stage. He's buying his way into a presidential race. I don't know if you saw this morning. He's doubling his ad spends now after the disarray in Iowa. He is an oligarch. I mean, Bloomberg is what represents like the worst aspects of big money in politics. We should be extremely wary of this guy trying to influence our political process or personal gain.
Yeah, I don't understand what is controversial about this. And we're gonna have some back and forth on MSNBC about this. If you have an extreme amount of wealth and you are able to turn that into an outsized influence over politics, that's an oligarch. Honestly, like we identify Donald Trump as being wealthy and all of that. There's no comparison between the two. He has 30 to 50 times as much money as Donald Trump. He spent $250 million and has risen in the polls exclusively based on that. That is the definition. So it shouldn't, like Nina Turner is getting attacked for this. None of that is justified. And I want to give you an example of what she's facing. So there was a panel involving her and MSNBC contributor Jason Johnson. Here is Johnson responding to her invocation of the oligarchs.
It's not just about a word, it's about the implications of it. And it's about criticizing the system versus criticizing individuals. Like I said, I wouldn't call Bernie Sanders an oligarch, and he happens to be part of the 1%.
Okay, so there's two things there. So one is you can criticize the system, don't criticize the individuals, as if oligarchy can exist without oligarchs as manifestations of it. But then also you saw there, he then turned it on Bernie saying, you work for someone who's part of the 1%.
Yeah, just classic disingenuous distraction from Jason there. Comparing a guy who 1 year in his 70s made $2 million through selling a book to a guy with a literal media empire worth 60 billion. Hey, maybe Jason just doesn't want to bite the hand that feeds. Maybe he's trying to get a job at Bloomberg after he's done where he's at now. You never know, but it's classic manufacturing consent from the corporate media, just falling on the sword for the richest and most privileged among us. Some people go into journalism because they want to hold the powerful accountable. Some people want to make them feel flattered and get jobs from them. Pick your career path.
Yeah, and I want to give Nina Turner a chance to respond to that. So here's a bit of her from that appearance.
It's just ironic to me that somebody would defend the wealthiest people in this country over the working people of this country. We need real campaign finance reform to the extent that a Mayor Bloomberg can totally finance his campaign. He doesn't have to go out to the people. He doesn't have to build a movement. He doesn't have to talk to people. He can buy his way. It is the same attitude that the elites, maybe Jason likes the word elite over oligarch, but it's the same attitude that the elites had in 1930 against FDR. All of them lined up against him, and he said, I welcome your hatred, because he was standing up for the people.
And that was great, but I also want to read just a bit of a tweet that she put out. So Nina tweeted, I may not have a PhD yet, but I do have the good sense of knowing what makes for oligarchy. Anyone caping for a billionaire with a media company able to buy endless ads and influence party rules halfway through is precisely a perpetuator of the corrupt system, i.e. an oligarch. And thank God that she is talking about this, because he's at like 13%. He's tied with Warren. He is spending so much money. And I think that almost everyone, for different reasons, believes, yeah, that's bad, that's scary, but it's not gonna matter. Eventually he's going to tail off, he's in a crater. Yeah, maybe, but not necessarily. There's a lot of people that are not paying that much attention to what's going on, and they'll vote for the person whose face they've seen on Facebook ads and YouTube ads 100 times a day. I don't know, maybe I'm too scared. What do you think, Jordan?
No, I think you're exactly right, John. I mean, so much of politics is name recognition, making an impression on people, just getting your face out there, getting your name out there, and not really, running on anything. We call people who vote like that based on those things low information voters. That's who Bloomberg is trying to sway. Whether or not that's a successful strategy in the long run remains to be seen.
Yeah.
But that's what he's trying to do. And again, it just really speaks to the kind of the corrupt nature of the DNC, that they were willing to rewrite their rules just to let this guy on the debate stage. It's absurd, patently absurd, and we should condemn it widely.
Thanks for watching The Damage Report. What if you could protect yourself on the internet for the price of a cup of coffee a month? Well, if you head to nordvpn.com/TYT, you'll be able to connect up to 6 devices to NordVPN's military-grade encryption for $349 a month. If you go now, they'll even throw in a month for free. Go now.